Hey, hello, happy Sunday. Again, was trying to fix my rotation from vertical to horizontal, but it seems that all of the scheduled lives are this way. At least that's my conclusion, but my bad if this is a bottleneck to anybody. I'm here in the office. It's been an interesting day. I was supposed to be at my son's hockey game, but he actually didn't go. So I got a chance to work. We already have two people here, so how's it going, guys? Happy Sunday. Is it All Saints Day? All Saints Day was yesterday in the US, right? Day of the death, or dead, deceased. So what's going on? Happy Halloween as well. Halloween was on Friday. Not a big Halloween guy. But today's agenda, I'm actually in the process of, well, I put together a script yesterday and I'm going to record a new video tomorrow. And one of the things that I'm super passionate about is health, fitness, training. I've been doing that for 30 plus years. And I wanted to record my next longish YouTube video about training and how to be in what I call top 1% shape at the age of 49. And I'm not going to be talking about any deadlift techniques or how many reps you should be squatting or any sets or whether working until failure is the right way to do it. I'm going to tackle this from a little different perspective. I guess that's my way of doing it, and I hope that's value to all of you. But I'm super passionate about certain things in life, of which training and fitness and weightlifting is one. And yeah, I know top 1% shape is pretty provocative. I don't know. I guess it's subjective whether I'm in top 1% shape. Maybe I'm not, but I would say maybe slightly better than an average 49-year-old. And I want to talk to you guys today about what that takes and how anybody who's in his 40s or maybe even early 50s is able to achieve the same. And a couple of principles that I wanted to highlight. But before we go there, I think it's common if we think about our life and we are in 30s or 40s and we have kids and family and obligations and you have that mortgage and you have those summer vacations and you're all busy taking kids from place A to place B and you know it's all chaotic all the time. You're overwhelmed most of the time. At least I am. And I think the same applies to all fathers and husbands and whatnot, even though I'm not a husband right now. I got divorced. I had another breakup a couple of years ago, so I'm single right now, but still I know what it is. I have two kids who still live at home and I try to prioritize my time with them as well. But the first thing is this. So if you think about why people do certain things, to me, it's all about motivation, and motivation is the same as deprivation. If we start with the really basic stuff in life, I would say if you're thirsty or if you're hungry, think about it. That's a clear sign of deprivation. You're pretty motivated to find food or water. If you haven't been drinking anything for a day, you're super thirsty. Or if you're super hungry, I mean, the same thing applies. Maybe you had 15 things in your mind in the morning, but all of a sudden you haven't had anything to eat for 12 hours. Pretty much most of those items disappear and you just start to focus on the things that really matter. In that case, you're hungry. So the question number one to me is that how do we find the right motivation to do something in life? Because otherwise, if you don't have a big enough why, you're going to be one of those people who, after 6 months, when summer is over, September starts or October starts, you're like, oh man, I mean, this is not going to be my thing. And maybe there's an easier way to be in shape. And maybe I still fall back to my old habits of eating potato chips and drinking beer. To me, motivation is one thing. And then the question is, okay, how do I find that motivation? There's a couple of ways for me to do it, but it all starts with that big why and understanding that what are the things I have to do today so that I don't have any regrets at the end of the day when I'm 90. And to me, there have been three things in my life. I've always wanted to train like a pro athlete. I wanted to be very close to my kids, be the best possible dad, and then also at the same time grow my businesses. And there have been times when it's been super, super difficult. And balancing the three. But I would say that my kids have always been my number one, and well, I guess I hate to admit that there have been also times when working out and training has been more important than running a business. And let me just grab something here real quick. I have my notes and I took some notes, but I'm not sure if I need this. Yeah, so there have been times when I would say that training has been more important to me than working out, because one of my goals in life has been to live forever. I mean, I know that's not possible, but I joke about it all the time, saying that, well, when I'm 90, I still want to be lifting weights, doing deadlifts and squatting and all of that stuff. So as long as I don't have any regrets, that's the bottom line for me. So if you don't have that motivation, it's really hard to be in top shape. And the second solution to this is that it takes 10 years minimum. I've been training for 33 years, and right now I can say that I'm on autopilot. It's not a hobby, it's a way of life. But if your motivation is strong enough, you have the foundation in place, and you're not doing it for just the next 6 months or trying to reach your beach body, I think you have a good starting point. And I don't start new things in life unless I can commit to them for 10 years. That's how these two are tied together. So if you think you're motivated to start lifting weights or start running or playing tennis or whatever, scuba diving, all good hobbies, but I would not start one unless I was willing to commit to it for the next 10 years. That's how I look at it. That's, to me, the foundation, the key question about if I have enough motivation to do anything. And like I said, my starting point has always been to live forever. That's one. And then I know what it takes. It's just eating the same foods, training, and just at the end of the day, being ready and willing to pay the price. Sorry, let me get one thing real quick. There was somebody by the door. Yeah, so the Sundays, I want to turn this the other way around. Today's video about the practical tips, how to find the motivation and then how really to stick with that schedule, because like I said, I don't think people talk about whether 3 sets until failure is the right way, or if you should be deadlifting or squatting. I think that's the 10%. I think 90% is the way to get started the right way and find the motivation and keep going. Because if you can't commit to this for 10 years, it's not going to be doable for you. And many of us wake up when there is a health scare. You go see a doctor, your blood pressure is high, or you have high cholesterol or something else. But the real question is, true wisdom in life is understanding the long-term consequences of your actions. How can we be proactive in taking care of our health? And I think if you have, like I said, if you have a strong enough foundation to get started, the motivation is big, the why is big enough, then you have a good starting point. I've been really open about talking about my background, why I started. And when it comes to motivation, the why, I think there are 2 starting points. You have deep insecurity and you have curiosity. Of these 2, curiosity is obviously a lot healthier. And if I think about myself, why I started training 32 or 33 years ago, it was because of deep insecurity. I think like many young men in their teens or maybe early 20s, we all want to be a little stronger and brag about how much we are bench pressing and all of that stuff. I was no different. The thing is that I'm pretty tall. I'm 6'3". I always been lanky. I always been tall and skinny, and I haven't really had any muscles or anything. When we had those high school PE lessons, when everybody else was lifting weights, I was ashamed. I never really wanted to go to the school gym and join anybody. I wanted to do it behind the scenes. I wanted to do it by myself so that I guess my thinking model was that I would get better and then show up and people wouldn't see me as that tall, skinny guy anymore. well, it didn't really work that way. So then at the age of 16 or 17, I started working out with a good friend of mine. And then it's been, I used to play soccer before that, or football as we call here in Europe. And but ever since I hit the gym for the first time, it's been my true passion. But that deep insecurity was really the biggest motivator for me going forward, or in the beginning. And I think if I'm truly honest, it's still there. And I don't think it's ever gonna go away. If I'm at the gym, I never compare myself to a so-called regular Joe or an average Joe who just started and nothing, I mean, no offense, I mean, everybody comes from a different starting point. But I always compare myself to somebody who's in better shape than me, is stronger, or maybe has a better physique, or whatever the thing is. And that's my way of moving the goalposts so that I can always compare myself to somebody who's better than me. And I think that's another way to keep that motivation up. I mentioned the 10-year rule, so never start anything unless you're willing to commit to it for the next 10 years. And then, like I said, it's just keep going, keep grinding. But many of us skip the first step in life, which in my opinion is asking yourself, what is truly important to me? What applies to me? And what are the goals that I should be having? Not what my neighbor thinks, not what my parents want me to do, or what my spouse or partner think, but what is really important to me. And if all of your friends play badminton or tennis or whatever they do, it doesn't mean that you have to do the same thing. And I have to say that from an early age on, I've been pretty good at that. Maybe I was fortunate, or maybe I put myself in situations where I got to develop that skill. But that really was something that has helped me a lot in staying on my path as far as doing one thing for a really, really long time. Because I think people underestimate how long it takes to get really good at something. And that's where that 10-year rule comes into play. Motivation, number one, and then doing it for 10 years minimum is something that is going to give you the results. So if you're in your 40s today, and this, like I said, why do I talk about people in their 40s so much nowadays, is because I repositioned my channel to men 40 plus, talking about a little bit about business advice, relationships, and maybe fitness as well. And I guess I want to call myself a life architect in that sense. And fitness has been my true passion. All of my clients, the 5 clients that I work with today, they all have started as, they came in from the money perspective, like with that money angle. We started talking about how to increase their real estate income or how to improve their business, but gradually more and more we talk about everything else than just that business. It's all about the building blocks in life, and fitness and being in good shape is one of them. So I guess my main message is that if I were 45 or 47, whatever today, and I felt that, okay, well, my doctor told me that my blood pressure is high. If I keep doing what I do, I'm not gonna live until 90 or 100, whatever my goal is. So I gotta do something today. So find that motivation, find that one thing that you can comfortably say you can stick to for the next 10 years, and then go all in, go flat out, work out like there was a gun to your head every morning. So push, 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 and then do it at least for 10 years. So how about this? If you're 47 now and you worked your ass off the next 10 years, you would be in the best possible shape of your life at 57, I guarantee you that. And then probably you would be, if not in top 1%, but in top 5% of your age group. I think that's a pretty remarkable achievement if you think about it that way. And especially if you haven't really done that much up until now, you'll see results in the beginning, which I would say are probably pretty dramatic, assuming that you work hard. The intensity is there. And regarding fitness, it was actually funny. I was at the gym with my daughter today. I had a day off myself, but I've been going to the gym with my daughter since this summer because she's a gymnast and injured her knee, and there was a knee surgery in June. And ever since we've been rehabbing her knee, or she's been rehabbing it, I've been giving her some advice, of course. There's a physical therapist whose orders we are following, but I've been the person overseeing them, let's put it this way. And of course, we improvise and we add different exercises and try to, now develop her body overall. But it was funny. I have 2 gym memberships. The one that we went to today, and it's this cookie cutter. I don't know if you guys are from the US, but 24-hour fitness probably would be a good comparison to that. So kind of like your mainstream gym, nothing super fancy, clean, pretty big, average people go there. Nothing wrong with that. But the moment you stepped in, music is kind of like relaxing and easygoing and fits everybody's needs. And people are there to just stay in shape, I would say. But they are not there to be in the best possible shape of their life. So they are not there to kill it, so to say. They are not there to push the envelope, work until failure, and really, really push their body. You know what I mean? Like how to be the best possible version of myself. So that's the other gym that I go to. Then the other one is this, I would say, more hardcore gym in my hometown. A good friend of mine owns it. They have 3 locations, but the one that they just opened now recently is state of the art. It's a even on a global scale, it's a really, really good gym. So that's where I do most of my workouts. And it's like a night and day. And this old saying about change the circumstances, change your behavior. I can motivate myself, that's okay, but I need to work extra hard when I go to that, your average Joe, so quote unquote 24-hour fitness version here. And I just started thinking that if you were that prototype male, let's say in your 40s, and you said, okay, enough is enough, I have these and these issues, and now I'm gonna make a change. And it's gonna be hard. It's like the hardest thing ever to really make a change. Change is possible in life, but the reason why people are not successful often is that we just try to do things the easy way. And any change, let alone physical or mental or whatever, it just takes a lot of effort. So imagine going to that place to do your workouts where everybody's kind of like staring at their phone, watching Instagram videos, and kind of like not really giving you the best possible benchmark, so to say. You know what I mean? So if you compare yourself, if you're in an environment where everybody is so much better than you, it's gonna push you to new levels. And the same thing applies to training as well. So my recommendation, number 1, would be to find, if you just get started, or you've been doing something for a little bit, find the most hardcore place in your city where people really take it seriously. You show up, and you have no other way than just to kind of like follow their lead, so to say. But if you go to that everybody's comfortable place where people just like I said, watch Instagram videos and like just take it easy, you're gonna most likely follow their lead, and then you're never gonna reach your goals. That's how I look at it. So change the circumstances, change the behavior is one of those quick fixes or hacks, so to say, that you can apply if you're just getting started. I'm not using PEDs, no. The supplements I'm using, if we turn this into supplement discussion, is creatine and some amino acids, but no, I'm drug free. But I'm not big, 6'3", I weigh 220, so I'm still relatively skinny, I would say. I'm quite lean, and the leaner you are, the more, I guess, your muscles are visible, if you would have put it that way. But like I said, I look at it this way, that most people, I'm not a personal trainer, by the way, in any way. I could be, I guess. I believe I have some skills and competencies, but most of the people talk about what exercises to do and all of that stuff. But I think this is like any other thing in life. If you just find the basic stuff that works, if you are into deadlifting, squatting, and bench pressing and doing some pull-ups, that's fine. Don't change a thing. You don't have to. You don't have to use the latest machines, or you don't have to do anything else. That's fine. I mean, whatever the things you have develop, whatever routines you have, as long as you work hard enough, that's fine. I mean, the simple things work. But the biggest question is your motivation. Are you willing to commit to this for the next 10 years and then busting your ass off the next 10 years? That would be the solution I would highlight. So many people just look at grass always being greener on the other side of the fence. And I think that's one of the biggest problems, because we want things easy in life. And there's this saying that I actually just wrote it down. Let me see if I have the photo here. I should remember this because I posted this on Instagram. Life is simple, but not easy. We want it easy, which makes it complicated. So working out is the same way. It's extremely simple, but it's not easy. It's far from easy. Why is there so much glare, by the way, behind me? Yeah, it's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. But the reason why we want it to be that way, and then that's why it gets so complicated. 33 years. I'm 49 now. I started when I was 16. I was in high school. That's been my, it's been my story. What about you? How old are you? You must be younger, I have a feeling. Do I look like I'm 49? I'm sure. Crazy thing happened yesterday at the gym. No, yesterday, hold on. No, Friday. I was at this other gym that I train at, and a guy comes to me, looks like me, bald, you know, same height, same build roughly. At 27, okay, good for you. Anyhow, here this out. So my brother is 5.5 years younger than me. I just had a conversation with him like 5 minutes before this live started. And this guy at the gym, I've never seen him before. He's like, hey, are you this and this? I'm like, yeah, same last name, but that's not my first name. He's like, oh, are you like this guy's dad? Meaning my brother. It's like, no, I'm not his dad. I'm his big brother. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. So I'm 5.5 years older than my brother, and this guy thinks I'm his dad, my brother's dad. Oh my God, that was not a compliment. So I guess I look old. Crazy stuff. Anyhow, maybe that's not funny. So you're 27, so talk to me. So do you go to the gym, or how do you train, or do you train? How do you look at fitness and staying healthy in life? For those of you who just joined, I actually just, this morning I felt like having a live again, and I wanted to talk about fitness. I'm 49 myself right now, and the next video I'm going to record is going to be called, what is it going to be called? How to stay, I'm sorry, I should know this. I'm going to record it tomorrow. I'm 49 and in top 1% shape. Here's what actually works. Okay, provocative, whether I'm in top 1% shape or not, I don't know. I would like to, but I guess I'm in okay shape compared to how old I am. But anyhow, so I wanted to talk about how motivation and sticking with something for 10 years is the only thing that truly matters. And many people just think that it's the deadlifting technique and whatnot. As long as you work your ass off and you understand that your starting point is right, you have a strong enough motivation, which oftentimes equals deprivation. If you want something bad enough, you're gonna go after it. The question is that reason big enough? You just single maybe, and you wanna attract a lot of women because of the way you looked before. Now you wanna get in shape, or your doctor told you that your blood pressure is high, or your cholesterol is out of whack. So is that the reason why you just started working out? Well, maybe that noise is gonna fade. You know what I mean? And maybe you end up just like forgetting that stuff when you realize, oh, I'm going to be alive in 6 months. Because what happens usually with these medical things, unless you're a smoker and somebody tells you that, look, you have lung cancer. So don't you fucking understand that you have to quit, otherwise you're going to be dead in 5 weeks. Okay, whatever, just an extreme case. In those cases, people usually just stop what they're doing. But if it's one of those things where you get blood work done and your whatever liver values or your cholesterol is way out of whack, and then all of a sudden you get scared. Oh my God, I'm just like, then I have my doctor's appointment and he gave me this lecture and I have to do something, you know what I mean? And it's like the first thing that comes to your mind is that I'm gonna die, Am I not gonna see my kids grow up or whatever? Most likely that's not gonna happen. So if that's your reason to get started, as far as fitness goes, it's not gonna last. I'm gonna tell you that already now. That's how I look at it. It's not a big enough reason. That's why I think if you study people who get exceptional results in life, and I'm not talking about myself, overall, right? There are some common character traits that these people have. One of them is that deep insecurity, that big enough fuel, that fire that just keeps on burning inside of you. You know what I mean? It's like it keeps you going every morning. It doesn't matter what you have, nothing is enough. You know what I mean? I think it's called deep insecurity. The other way to be super motivated is curiosity. It's like, I just want to see how good I truly am. I just want to see how I can maximize my potential. And if I think about myself, my weight training or lifting weights started simply with that deep insecurity. Nowadays, most of the things in my life, and probably fitness too, are probably 50-50 curiosity and deep insecurity. But business-wise, I just want to see how good I can truly be. You know what I mean? If I can pull this off, so to say. My new business that I started 1.5 years ago, this consulting thing, being online and whatnot, I'm just curious to see if I can do it. And of course, it would piss me off if I couldn't pull it off, if I just never get anything out of this. But I think it's a little different than why I started lifting weights, because I think people who have that nothing is enough, that deep insecurity mindset, especially when it comes to your physical appearance, I don't think it's ever really going to go away. I mean, I'm the first to admit that. I mean, yeah, a bigger reason nowadays is for me to, like I said, live forever. But why I started was completely visual and strength related. Longevity, like the first 20 years, I didn't even think about longevity. I didn't even understand what that meant. But I think when we are older, when you're 27, you probably can't relate to this. But because you think oh my God, you're 49, you're fucking dead already. You're 22 years older than me. But let me tell you this, life flies, time flies. Time goes by so quickly that almost tomorrow, not quite, but really quickly you realize that, oh my God, another year went by, 5 years, 10 years, and then you're 37, you're like 40. If you don't really take care of yourself, life catches up on you. That's how I look at it. And it's so much easier to get in shape when you're younger and then maintaining that, whatever being in shape means to you. And I don't talk about visual things. I don't care how people look. I think you owe it to yourself to live your life such that you have no regrets at the end of the day. And there are a lot of doctors who talk about this too, and especially if we think about longevity. There are several studies indicating that actually your muscle mass and your bone density, which are both related to weightlifting, they have more to do with your longevity than blood pressure or cholesterol, for instance. Especially when we get older, lower body strength, being able to, this might sound crazy to you guys, but I don't know, I started saving money when I was 18, investing, because I thought that I would never want to be in a situation where I run out of money, that somebody else has to take care of me. Health is to me the same way. It would be my biggest nightmare not to be able to move around or whatnot, be dependent on others. But everybody's different. I'm not saying you have to do things the same way. But I guess this lecture and message is to those people who really want to I don't know, make a change. But don't fool yourself by having 5 of them on your plate at the same time, because one alone is just a gigantic task, just monumental. That's the way it goes. What else is going on? What do you think about my rant? Are you full of shit? Go ahead and tell me that if that's what you think. Or would you wanna hear any tips or opinions about how to lift and what to do and what kind of techniques? We can talk about that too, if that's something that you want to do. I can go there briefly. I've tried. Hello, Javier San Martin. Okay, now I'm not sure if I completely understand your question. Can you repeat that? Hello. How many times in a week is necessary for curiosity or learn new models for self-update? What are you talking about specifically? Are you talking about fitness? So I guess your question, if I understand it correctly, is that if you want to establish new behavior models, okay, you're going to update yourself, upgrade yourself, right? That's what you're talking about, whether it's fitness or something else. So your question is, if I'm understanding correctly, sorry, I'm a simple guy, so if I'm completely off or lost, so call me out. So you're basically saying that if you want to establish new routines, how long does it take? Is that your question? Okay, assuming that's your question, here's how I look at it. It's a very good question, by the way. I love that. I think about change a lot in life. I think in the past, I used to think that change is not possible. That's how I thought, honestly. In work, okay, work related, okay? So you're talking about the change in the work. So like if you want to establish new routines, business-wise, work-wise, what does it take? How many times a week should you do the new stuff so that you reset your mind, you learn something new? Is that what you're saying? Okay, while you answer it, let me answer it this way. I think about change a lot in life, a lot. And I look at it this way. It's possible. I used to think in the past that you are what you are. Forget it, game over. Fuck, that's gonna, yes, okay, thank you. So that's I was on that camp in the past. It was like, okay, forget it. You're this way or that way. It wasn't until I had to change myself. I've done some major changes. In some ways, I'm the same stubborn motherfucker I used to be. I mean, and in some areas, maybe even worse. But in some other areas, I was forced to learn a lot of new stuff. And thinking about your question, I don't think it matters whether it's work related or whether it's, your personality or whatever routines. I think it takes you a good 6 months if you're willing to commit to it. The first 2 or 3 weeks is going to be super hard, and then you'll see a change. It gets easier and you get used to it. But we get used to anything, I think, as humans. It's been shown. But I think it takes 6 months. That's my experience. Okay, I'll give you a couple of examples from myself. One of the hardest things for me has been to learn how to say no. This applies to business, this applies to personal life and whatnot. I used to think that I have to say, or I want to say yes to everything so that I would have a backup plan on the insurance policy. I would leave all doors open in case something happened. Excuse me. But that resulted in a situation where I was busy and I was disciplined, but I was not focused because I did not have the courage to say no to certain people, to certain things or whatnot, because I was not comfortable with the outcome, with the end result. I wanted to be in the driver's seat. I wanted to control the outcome, see? That resulted in me trying to say yes to everything just to make sure that I can control it. Relationships was one of my hardest resets. I went through a divorce and another very difficult breakup 5 years after that. And I've been single now for 3.5 years. But that's not important. But the most important part of that about that is that even in relationships, I used to think that I can change the other person's perspective if I was just able to articulate the matter better, and if I was just able to explain things. And letting go and giving up was not in my vocabulary at all. So I literally had to say no and learn how to let go and let things be. And it took me probably more than 6 months. It's still an ongoing process, but after half a year, it started to get better. And I had to practice really hard. That's how I look at it. But if you gave me an example from your life as far as what do you mean specifically, what kind of change work related, I can try to be more detailed if you want. What else is going on? Happy Sunday. How was your Halloween weekend? Some countries your biceps are great for your age. Phil Dunphy. Oh, Phil. For my age. How did you know how old I was? Were you listening? Or did you see the live description? You were probably not here, Phil, when somebody, I mentioned that. I was at the gym on Friday, and there was a guy, I didn't know him beforehand, but he recognized me. I also have a podcast, and he knows my brother. Well, maybe he just knows me because of my brother. But anyhow, he was like, oh yeah, you basically saying my brother's, dad. I'm 5.5 years older than my brother. And this guy thinks he's my younger brother's dad. I was like, I'm not that old. Or do I look that old? Thanks, Phil. Thanks for the compliments. How can I help you? This live was actually, maybe you joined later. We talked about how to be fit in your 40s, and how it's my passion to help other men over 40. And fitness is one of those things I've been doing for 32 or 33 years. And I'm not a personal trainer, by the way. I'm not going to be your guy posting workout videos and giving you proper form and technique tips. I could do that, but I'm not going to be the guy. I'm going to be talking about different stuff. And today I mentioned 2 things. So you need a big enough why. Motivation equals deprivation. That's the starting point. Many people don't have a big enough why. That's why they never get results, whether it's losing weight or gaining muscle or getting stronger, whatever the thing is, or even just, overall making a change overall. And the second thing is that, are you willing to commit to it for the next 10 years? Literally, it's going to take 10 years minimum, because people always underestimate how long it takes to get really good at something in life. And many people I've had shorts and I've had videos about the same topic, and there are always 1 or 2 people who call me out on this, saying that, I was able to make money in a year and a half, or I was able to do this and that. I was like, yeah, that's fine. But I believe in order for you to develop really deep, good skills, comprehensive skills, it's going to take a decade. And that's why, again, coming back to Javier's question about focus in a workplace, and I used myself as an example about how it was so difficult for me to say no. Imagine how important it is to pick your battles, to learn how to say no so that you can say yes to the most important things in life if it truly takes you a decade to get good at something. And if you think about yourself professionally, you start at the age of 20, 25, whatever, and then I don't plan on retiring ever, but let's say you continue working for the next 50 or 60 years. You probably have 5 or 6 seasons in you. That's not a lot. If I look at myself, and I didn't even start thinking about this season concept or 10-year thing until maybe a couple of years ago. But if I look back at my life, I've been living my life in 10-year seasons. Literally. No one knows their whys. and now want things for 10 years. Yeah, you know the reason, Phil, the reason why I think, well, the reason why people don't know their whys is that they always skip the first question. Knowing what to want is the first question. That's the same as with why. You know what I mean? Because we are so busy chasing everything. We want to get the prettiest girl or guy, most money, biggest house, nice car, fancy watch, summer house, yacht, whatever, Ferrari. So you want the same stuff that everybody else wants because you are supposed to get them. And nowadays, I'm guessing you're maybe, I don't know how old you are, I'm not guessing anything, I'm 49, okay? So I grew up in an era where there was no internet, there was no social media. I had no clue what my friends in LA or Milan or Barcelona or Beijing, China did. I had no clue. Maybe once a month I got a magazine, or, you know, there were daily newspapers for sure, or, you know, TV was there for sure, I mean, of course. But still, your level of exposure to other cultures, other people, it wasn't there. Nowadays, you're supposed to want all of that stuff, and people skip that first step. What was the first step? Knowing what to want, what applies to you, right? It's the same thing in life when you want to collect all the information. People are like, okay, what's the best definition of wisdom or intelligence? I think the best definition of wisdom or intelligence, in my opinion, is somebody who's able to accumulate, collect a lot of data, a lot of information, and then apply that information when it comes to myself. How do I apply the info that I just collected? I mean, you can go to school and get 3 PhDs, but are you smart? Not necessarily, unless you can use that information that you just collected by going to school and then make your own life better. You know what I mean? But the first step, the reason why is so important and so difficult at the same time is because you really need to know yourself. It's about intuition, what applies to me, and you need to be able to be a follower, not a leader, and say no to everybody else and like, well, you guys want this, but that's actually not my thing. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna go here when you guys go there. And then you're right, most people don't live in that 10-year cycle or season. They don't think about it. In a way, it's probably good too. But the only reason why it's bad is because you might give up too easily. And then there's a second reason too. And then if you don't really think about the big picture and the long-term consequences of your own actions, you end up one of those people, those 80%, that group, who at the age of whatever, 70, 80, or 90, regret the things they never did. And that would be my biggest nightmare. That's how I just map it out myself. So if you just have a strong enough why, like I said, motivation equals deprivation, you know, you'll find a way. Like I said, if you think about it, you're hungry, you're thirsty, you haven't had anything to drink for a day. You'll probably do almost anything to find water. That's the same as motivation. Okay, if you want to be in shape, how do I create that level of deprivation? I want it so bad that I'm willing to do whatever it takes for the next 10 years, almost daily, working my ass off. I think that would be the ultimate recipe. I mean, somebody tells you to squat this way or that way, that's fucking bullshit. That's 10%. 90% is the motivation and the 10-year commitment. That's the 90%. Because otherwise, you're going to be one of those guys who's like, okay, well, lady in the red dress, or grass is always greener, or shiny object syndrome, whatever you want to call it. There's always something easier. There's always something that, you know, takes over when the going gets tough. That's just my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. It's the way it works. But I think that 90-10 rule is very valuable overall in life, because if you think about it, you go to school, people tell you what to do, and most of that stuff falls in that same 90-10 category. 90% of the stuff that people tell you is just noise. It applies to them, but might not apply to you. And being strong enough, brave enough, having enough self-confidence that you understand that, hey, what is that 10% that really makes my life better, and then being able to stick with that. I think that would be the thing. Fitness is no different. It's hard for me. I've been doing this for 32 years. I talk to somebody and I'm like, okay, well, this is how I train my legs, for instance. And then I meet somebody, like this happened a couple of months ago. And I meet somebody who I respect, and then he goes like, yeah, well, I think you should, I mean, I'm doing it. He's not telling me what to do. He's basically telling what he's doing. I'm like, it makes me think. It's like, man, would that be the reason why my legs aren't stronger? Or why, I don't know, whatever the reason is, right? And then you start questioning your own principles. Then it takes you a while to get back on track and say, okay, well, look, there are 15 different ways how you can get to the finish line. You just find yours, whatever works with you, your mechanics, your muscle fibers, and your recovery, your ability to recover, and whatever. And then you just stick with that, Hi. So, but it's hard because other people's opinions, they influence our thinking so much. It's really hard. That's normal. Yeah, self-awareness. It's hard. It's really hard. And the younger you are, the harder it is. That's what I've noticed too. I was trying to do this horizontally this way again. Last time I was successful, but now I scheduled this live, so I have no idea how I changed the orientation before going live. It was easy when I didn't have this link already established or the invitation. That's not, I mean, ignore what I said. It's just, I'm thinking out loud here. Yeah, so I was planning on recording this video tomorrow about being 49 and being in top 1% shape and what it takes. And these are the things I wanted to talk about. I don't know if that's boring. You guys tell me. Would anybody expect to see tips about, I don't know, these techniques or these exercises or whatnot? But that's... Yeah. It's the way it goes. As a 20-year-old, I can tell you it's harder on our generation to obtain self-awareness. Any tips? Yeah, I'm sure it is. Like I just mentioned a while back, maybe 5 minutes ago, when I was your age, there was no social media. There was really no internet either. Well, internet kind of, yes, but it was so small back then that it was not a factor. And you're right, you guys in your 20s, you were a teenager, and social media was all over the place. And your thinking was heavily influenced, I would assume, by what other people do. So that's a very good question. How to be self-aware in the social media era where everybody is in your back pocket, so to say, and you get to see what everybody else is doing, what kind of a car they are driving, and how much money they claim at least they have and whatnot. How to be self-aware in that. This is basically what I keep telling my kids. And I would say that the 90-10 rule applies here. So understand, number one thing, that most of the information that people give you as the truth or data or you should listen to this, you should read this, is probably bullshit. So approach everything with a healthy dose of skepticism. And then understand that 10% of what you hear, whether it's at school, adults like, or I mean, you're an adult too, but like older guys like me, probably only 10% applies to you. And then listen to many people and then collect your data points and then form your opinion after you have listened to several people, because coin always has two sides. Nowadays also, let's say, one of the most controversial topics in today today's world is climate change, right? I don't have an opinion here, but whether you believe in that or not is irrelevant. But you have so much data supporting either or if you just want to keep digging, right? That's an example of how this world works nowadays. So everybody is trying to convince the other guy to live life their way, whereas you should have so much conviction. So this is the thing. Instead of convincing others, have conviction in yours. And how to build self-awareness in today's world where social media and the attention is all over the place. Like I said, collect lots of information, study. Don't necessarily go to school. You can learn by doing, but do many things. Go after your interests, your true passion areas, and then put together your own puzzle. Don't blindly follow anybody. Be a leader, don't be a follower. Instead of watching other people's content, start creating content. Be a creator, not a consumer. And then once you understand that the 90-10 rule applies, that 90% of the things that you hear are just noise. Try to focus on recognizing or separating signal from noise. Every morning when you wake up, you're like, okay, there are 50 million things on my plate. There's this Instagram feed, there's the TikTok stuff, and there's my girlfriend or my boyfriend or my parents or my friends and my society and my whatever. Everybody's yelling in my ears, Everybody has an opinion. Take a step back and understand that today's job, my job today, is to find that signal. And it's usually one or two things instead of 24. That's the same as saying no to everything that doesn't matter. And at the same time, you say yes to those things that matter. And I think that's how you get close. So you start with the 90-10. 90% is bullshit, noise. And my job is to find 10%, that signal. Then once I have enough of those signal pieces, I start to put my own puzzle together, and you're not in a hurry. That's probably another really key piece, because everybody thinks that they're in a hurry. I just mentioned this earlier, maybe you didn't hear this, but it takes a good 10 years to get really good at something. 10 years. So you're not in a hurry. So just forget all of that, what people tell you. Well, that's good. It's a good starting point. But still, even if you were without phones until 16, so then after that, I don't know how old you are, and I'd say you're 22, you've been exposed to that shit for 6 years. And I'm not saying it's all bad in any way. I'm not saying it's bad. But it has its side effects like anything else. Everything in moderation. But of course, the first 16 years shaped you and your thinking in probably in a very good way, so that you understand now, probably better than others, when it comes to your age group, what signal versus noise looks like. And then really the key is to be a follower, the key is to be a leader, not a follower. So don't follow anybody else's footsteps. Live life on your own terms. Try to be free and independent, and then everything else you get it will be a byproduct. Money, whatever. It's just like, understand what matters to you. Knowing what to want is the first step, not what everybody else wants. Knowing what to want. What is really my thing? What do I want to do in life? What do I want to achieve? And today might be different than in 5 years. That's completely fine. By the way, there's nothing wrong with pursuing something today that is of no interest in 3 years. Because your only job in life, in my opinion, and this is what I tell my kids, is to just go blindly after those interests of yours, those true passion areas. Don't spend a day chasing anybody else's dream. Don't go to school because your family is full of lawyers. That's all bullshit. Just go to school if you want to do it, or don't go to school. Go work for somebody else for 2 years and then figure it out. It's much better. You're not wasting your time. You're doing something that is interesting to you. And you're never wasting a day in your life if you are following your own gut, your intuition. But it takes a lot of courage, especially nowadays, when everybody else is telling you what to do, and everybody has an opinion. Everybody seems to have such a great life, especially in social media. Let me tell you, everybody is clueless. Your parents are clueless, your grandparents are clueless, your neighbors are clueless, you are clueless, everybody's clueless. I'm clueless. That's why you just take action. Actions fix all feelings. You wake up and you ask yourself, okay, I live in a one-day cycle. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do this morning so that I can get better? That's it. A lot of stuff, sorry. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. It's hard. It's supposed to be hard. Life is simple, but not easy. We want it easy, which makes it complicated. It's simple, but not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. But that, let me tell you from experience, that's going to change. You're going to be interested in one thing today, and that might change, and that's fine too. It's perfectly fine. There are people who are good in your life today, might not be good in your life in 5 years or in 5 months. That's okay too. That's how it goes. Everybody is there for a reason. They teach us a lesson. It's a chance for us to get better. Learn how to walk away. That was hard for me. It was really hard for me to learn how to let go and walk away, because that grind and working hard was, but there is another thing. There are no strengths and weaknesses in life. There are only character traits that might, let's say, being stubborn, okay? One might say that it's a weakness. Like, okay, well, in certain circumstances, it might be. If it means that I don't learn from my mistakes, because people usually connect stubbornness with something that people just keep doing the same things, but they expect different results. If that's what your character trait is, then yeah, it might be a problem. But then on the other hand, the definition between being stupid and successful is there's sometimes a very fine line. Meaning you might be stubborn to the point of repeating the same thing over and over. But then the difference is that sometimes you actually get what you want. Because in life, either you give up or you get what you want. You know what I mean? So you keep grinding and pushing. So everything, the point of this is that, maybe I'm just confusing all over the place. My point is that every character trait coin has two sides. If you're stubborn, it means that you probably push through as well, and you probably get exceptional results, right? But then that's a bad thing if you never learn from your mistakes, if you just expect different results without taking any steps or iterations. Hey, Maxler. Grandpa of the group. That's fine. They're just jealous. They most likely just wanted to be like you. Maxler, what's going on? How to deal with disrespect? What kind of disrespect? People disrespecting you? I have a take on this. I'm not sure if you like it, but I'll tell you in a sec when you just clarify. There's, by the way, a delay with this, I noticed. Yes, okay. So this is an interesting one. Okay. After this, or maybe during this, you can Google this. Dr. Albert Ellis is the guy who launched this concept called 3 layers of blame. Okay? I don't know if you're familiar with that. Also known as, is it 3 levels of emotional disturbance or whatever. But anyhow, the point is this, that we get disappointed in life. Typically, we either blame the circumstances, we blame others, or we blame ourselves. Okay, the outer layer in this concept called 3 layers of blame is the circumstances. I'll give you an example. So you go on vacation. Maxler is traveling to, I don't know, from California to Hawaii, and the flight is delayed. The rental company made a mistake and gave you a wrong rental car, and it rains the whole week when you're in Maui. And it's like, you say, my vacation is fucked up. I blame the circumstances, right? Then other people when you go one layer in, so from circumstances to other people, it's like people usually think that, okay, my spouse or partner is supposed to do things, or people in traffic don't behave the right way, and that's why I honk my horn, I lose my mojo, and I get all angry, right? So we expect people to treat us with respect. If they don't, in other words, we expect people to behave the way we do. If they don't, it's okay to punish them verbally or whatever, or be mad at them or whatnot. The innermost layer is called self, right? People, this is typical for me, for instance, people who are very self-aware, they look themselves in the mirror, they always understand that every answer is always in the mirror, and they think that their self-worth is not really there unless they have been able to achieve great things. I'm not worth anything unless I get this thing done. See what I mean? How is this related to your question, okay? I look at disrespect in such a way that, okay, usually when people disrespect us, we say that, okay, this guy was disrespectful to me. To me, it's the same way as saying that he did not, I got disappointed. Whatever happened, let's say I deal with somebody and he or she doesn't shake my hand, doesn't look me in the eye when we meet, ignores me. I'm saying that person was disrespectful. Okay? Yeah, based on probably overall general rules of behavior, right? So how, like manners when you meet other people or whatnot. But then on the other hand, if I throw it the other way around, I'm like, okay, who am I to say that this person that I just met has to greet or meet me in a certain way? Because if I assume that they shake my hand and look me in the eye, at the same time I expect them to behave the way I behave in that situation. Again, I blame others. So it's like, you're an idiot, you didn't do that. Well, who am I to say that he or she has to treat me the same way I treat him or her? So I try to, the reason why I say this is probably very controversial, is that it helps me a lot when stuff like that happens. I get emotional easily. Traffic is the worst for me. I drive and people are super slow to react. Traffic lights turn green. I'm like, come on, let's go. Let's go. Why did you do it this way? Why didn't you do that? So then I just stop myself. I'm like, okay, why am I doing this again? Emotions run high, that's okay. But I think then it's our job to understand that the reason why I reacted that way is that I expected the driver in front of me to react the same way I react. It's also the same as me not understanding how the world works. It's a lot easier for me to deal with disrespect, other people's quote unquote odd behavior, when I approach it that way. I'm like, okay, they have the right to live their way the way they want. Who am I to tell them what to do? If I get upset about it, it's my fault. So have no expectations. I have zero expectations, but I am grateful for everything and everyone. That's how I try to tackle disrespect. I don't have to deal with that person. I have zero expectations. I'm not entitled to their good behavior, or I'm not entitled to them behaving the same way or thinking that they should behave the same way that I behave, but I'm grateful for everything and everyone. I'm grateful for the experience. I got to test my emotions, my patience and whatnot, and I learned something. At least I learned that I don't have to deal with that person. Then I can walk the fuck away. Another way is like, glad, okay, I'm happy that this person disrespected me because now I know he or she showed his or their true colors, and now I get to walk the fuck away. I don't give anybody a second chance. When people show you their true colors, believe them the first time. So you can frame everything so that you actually got something out of it. They have their right to disrespect you if they want, because who am I to say that they have to behave the same way I do? And once they do, I'm grateful because I'm not entitled to anything in life. I'm grateful for everything and everyone. And last but not least, super happy this happened because now I learned how they are. I don't have to deal with them ever again. Oh, thank you. Just my, I mean, am I good at this? Fuck no. No, I'm not. Terrible. I tell you, after this, it's 8 p.m. here. I go, I mean, whenever this is over, I hop in my car, I drive home, and most likely it takes me 4 minutes from office to my house, and I'm probably gonna get upset once at least. Again. But then I can turn back the switch where I'm like, okay, hey, look, I'm in no position to expect that person to behave my way, because that's the same as me not understanding how the world works. There are 8 billion people on this planet. There are 8 billion opinions. There are 8 billion versions of disrespect. Again, not saying, Maxler, that I mean, I don't know what happened to you. Of course, I get upset all the time in these situations too. You know what I mean? But what's different nowadays is that I used to get stuck in these. I literally used to get stuck in these so-called disrespectful situations. Now, I still get emotional. And I think that's fine. But I think you have to have the tools, because I'm all for tools in life. I think that's really the thing you need to collect. Mental models and tools, so that then whenever that happens, because the emotions run high, and I think emotions are good. You need to have emotions. You need to have your ups and downs, and like, okay, come on, this went bad, this went good. Good, I'm grateful, yes. But then you got to have a tool in your back pocket, like, okay, well, what do I need now? I need this card, the patience card. I need the 3 layers of blame understanding card, so that I can move on. That's the thing. I'm not expecting, I don't want anybody, if you ask my opinion, I don't want anybody to just like suffocate or suppress their emotions or feelings. I don't think that's normal. But you got to understand where that came from and how to get over it. Yeah, I mean, starting a fight, well, whether it's a physical or verbal, it's a different question. But I wish I could walk away, let's put it this way. I'm not good at walking away, but I'm getting better at it. I'll give you an example. I mean, I give you one good, one bad example. I'll give you the good one first. I'm a real estate investor as well. Maybe some of you know. I had this waterfront property. We had it rezoned. City backed it up. Everything was supposed to be perfect. I was supposed to make 200,000 with the upside. Okay, nice. What happened? The neighbor appealed, complained. Then the appeals court actually favored the neighbor, the first ever, according to the city lawyers and attorneys. I'm like, what the fuck? You know? And of course, easy for me to blame the neighbor. And it was, in my opinion, just a bullshit claim. And then the funny thing is that they actually wanted my permission for their next building permit, like a couple of months later. What did I do? I took the high road. I'm like, okay, well, one of my principles is that you can do whatever you want in your piece of land. You know, if I believe this value should be applicable to everybody, I mean, why would I, try to reject his project or whatever? So I actually signed off on his, even though he gave me a hard time and he was the one who complained, and as a result of his actions, I'm not making money now, right? So I didn't start a fight, okay? Bad example, I had one rental. I was waiting for that new tenant to come. I had my car parked outside the apartment on the street. A guy, this was Wednesday afternoon last week, 3 p.m., somebody knocks on my car window on the co-driver's side, the passenger side. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, I roll the window open. This guy is like wasted, drunk. Middle of the day, is like, I can't understand what he's saying. It's like, okay, well, get lost, whatever. Close the window. Then he's like, fuck you. It's like, blow a fuse, got out of the car, start this yelling match. Not good, right? So yes and no. I can sometimes, see the big picture. Sometimes I can't, depending on, of course, my mood. I'm a human too. But I think, of course, then what happened after that incident with the drunk guy was that, okay, well, then I felt bad immediately after that. But would I do it again? I don't know. I hope I wouldn't, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But the first example about that neighbor complaining, I think I would do that 100 out of 100 times. Yeah. So Hope I answered your question. So yeah, you should learn how not to start a fight. Is the thing, because the other thing is that if you let these people, and that's why I also, okay, so final piece of info, which is I think the most valuable, which I almost forgot. So think of it this way. So using myself again as an example, when I'm driving in traffic and I let somebody get under my skin with the way they take off, for instance, something silly, that's the same as them being able to control me. Imagine if like the same thing with that drunk guy. If somebody wanted to get under my skin, they would keep knocking on my window and be drunk in the middle of the afternoon and say something stupid to me, and I would lose my mojo every time. Think if my biggest enemy, if I had any, knew that, they would probably use that against me all the time. So would I want to be in a position where I give control to the other person every time? You know what I mean? The same way, if I start blaming others, I get emotional about this or that. It's the same thing as those guys having control over my life. I get triggered every time somebody does that. They don't react when they take off. Lights turn green and people do nothing. It's like, if I lose my mojo every time, it's the same thing as I give these people control over my life. That's crazy, right? If you think about it. Would you want to live your life so that somebody can get always under your skin if they wanted? No. You would want to learn how to control yourself so that nobody can touch you. You would want to be known as the guy who people were like, well, I was trying to get under his skin, but I couldn't. So he's so strong, right? It's a sign of weakness when I react the way I do. That's how I look at it. Sad but true. It never ends, self-improvement. It never ends. It never ends. Thanks, you're welcome. I don't know, hopefully it was helpful, use if useful, but that's how I look at it. What else is going on? I was happy I had these lives. I didn't have the best Sunday, to be perfectly honest, but I tried to follow my own principles, actions over feelings. So no matter how shitty your day is, just like take action and things will be better. And usually it happens. You take action and actions fix your feelings. But hopefully this was useful. Like always, we start talking about something and then we start talking about everything else, and that's perfectly fine. The Q&A is the idea here. But if any of you are smart, knowing that when I have a scheduled live, how I can actually start it this way, maybe there's something in the settings that I need to do beforehand. I couldn't figure that out, so that's why this is vertical. Last time I did a horizontal live, which was a test case for me. But I'm probably going to go home, eat something still. It's 8:15 Sunday night. And unless there's any other questions, then I'll talk to you guys again next time. I don't know what time, maybe today is Sunday, right? So Tuesday. I'm going to travel to Spain, by the way, and Friday morning I'm going to be there for a month. Look forward to that. And but before that, so I'll try to have at least one live. I will have one, that's a promise, if anybody's interested, this coming week. And then I'll have material coming from Spain too, for sure. Thanks for the questions and comments, I appreciate. This is like the highlight of my day or my week always, when I get to talk to people. I enjoy it, I honestly do. And I hope you got something out of this. The recording is available there on my YouTube channel, as always, if you're interested in watching it after the fact. But yeah, happy Sunday, and I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.